The LiDAR confirms the hidden chamber beneath the plaza.
Absolutely stunning. The precision of the Maya architects was unmatched.
The 1,500-year-old Mayan construction secret we still can't explain for well over 1,000 years. Deep in the heart of the jungle, the Maya built cities that could rival any in the ancient world. They raised colossal pyramids and sprawling palaces with a precision that can still stump engineers today. And they did it all without metal tools, without wheels, and without animals to haul their heavy loads. But their most incredible achievement, the one that has allowed these structures to survive for centuries, is a construction secret we were only just beginning to understand. It's a secret written not just in stone, but in the very chemistry of the jungle itself. A forgotten science that turned trees and rock into architectural masterpieces designed to stand the test of time. The scale of the impossible when we picture the Maya, we often imagine lonely ruins being swallowed by a relentless jungle. It's a romantic image, but it hides the incredible scale of what they built. At its peak, the Maya civilization was a sprawling network of powerful city-states, home to millions. Cities like Tikal and modern-day Guatemala weren't just settlements. They were massive urban centers. At its height, estimates suggest Tikal's population may have approached 100,000 people. Its plazas were vast, its palaces were multi-storied, and its temples soared above the canopy, reaching heights comparable to 20-story buildings. Way out in the remote jungles of Guatemala, you'll find El Mirador, an even older and larger city. While it's not as tall as Egypt's Great Pyramid, its total volume is staggering, making it one of the most massive ancient structures in the world. By some calculations, building it might have taken 15 million person-days of labor. And they did all this in one of the most challenging environments imaginable. The Maya built their world on unstable soil, with a rainy season that could wash away entire hillsides. On top of that, their technology was, by our standards, limited. They had no iron or steel. Their primary tools for quarrying and shaping stone were made from harder stones like flint, chert, and volcanic rock. For finer work and carving, they used incredibly sharp obsidian and durable jadeite. They had no wheels for transport and no draft animals like oxen or horses. Every single stone block, some weighing tons, was quarried and moved by pure human power, likely using a combination of brute force, log rollers, and sleds. This all leads to a huge question. How did a civilization working with such basic constraints build cities of this scale and complexity? And more importantly, how have these buildings survived centuries of humidity, rain, and jungle growth, while so many other ancient wonders have turned to dust? The answer isn't just about hard work. It's about a deep understanding of materials that we're only just rediscovering. Decoding the stone's foundations of genius, their main building material was a brilliant choice: limestone. This sedimentary rock is soft enough to cut when it's first quarried, but hardens dramatically when exposed to the air. The Maya became absolute masters of it. In some of their most refined buildings, they fitted the stones together so perfectly that little to no mortar was needed, a technique known as dry stone masonry that provided immense stability. But for their iconic pyramids and temples, they often used a clever shortcut, a rubble-filled construction method. They'd build two parallel retaining walls with finely cut stones, then fill the gap with a dense mix of dirt, rubble, and mortar. This was a super efficient way to create massive structures without having to quarry and shape millions of solid blocks. Many of their pyramids aren't solid stone, but rather mountains of rubble wrapped in a precision-cut stone skin. Instead of a true arch with a keystone, they would lay rows of stones, with each level sticking out slightly more than the one below it, until the two sides met at the top. This created the distinctive triangular vault you see all over Maya architecture. It limited how wide their rooms could be. But it was structurally solid and didn't need the complex wooden supports a Roman-style arch requires. These techniques alone show a sophisticated grasp of engineering. But they were only part of the story. The Maya knew that to protect their work from the jungle's non-stop assault of rain and humidity, they needed a shield. They found it in a brilliant, and for a long time, misunderstood, bit of chemistry. The secret to their building's long life wasn't just in the stones they stacked. It was in the coating they spread over them, the secret in the plaster for decades. Archaeologists have marveled at the plaster and stucco that still clings to Maya temples after more than 1,000 years. This wasn't just decoration, it was a critical structural element. It gave them a smooth surface for their famous murals. But more importantly, it was a high-performance skin that protected the porous limestone and rubble core from the weather. It was, essentially, an ancient form of high-tech cement, and it has proven to be unbelievably durable. But how did they do it? For years, everyone assumed the recipe was simple. Burn limestone to create quicklime, then mix it with water and sand. That's the basis for most historical mortar. But the Maya version was clearly better. It resisted cracking, it was incredibly water-resistant, and it stuck to stone like nothing else. What was their secret ingredient? Thanks to modern material science, we finally have an answer, and it comes from a totally unexpected place: the trees of the Maya jungle. A 2023 study in the journal Science Advances found compelling evidence that Maya masons were brilliant organic chemists. Researchers analyzing plaster from the Copan archaeological site in Honduras found traces of complex organic compounds. Working with local masons descended from the Maya. The research team was pointed toward to specific trees, the Chucum Havardia albicans and the Geote. Following traditional recipes, they recreated the ancient plaster. They took bark from these trees, boiled it in water, and created a sugary, sap-rich liquid. Then, they added that liquid to the lime mixture. The organic molecules from the sap integrated themselves into the crystalline structure of the plaster as it hardened. The Maya weren't just mixing ingredients. They were triggering a chemical reaction that mimics natural processes, a process called biomineralization. It's the same mechanism that lets organisms like sea urchins and mollusks create incredibly tough shells from simple calcium carbonate. The tree sap made the plaster more plastic, so it was less likely to crack as it dried. It also made the final product far more resistant to weathering, and the sap acted as a natural waterproofer, huge advantage in a rainforest. This wasn't just plaster. It was a technology perfectly engineered for its environment using local, sustainable ingredients. The secret wasn't just a single lost ingredient, but a deep, hands-on knowledge of organic chemistry. Masters of their environment, their whole approach to engineering was holistic, tying their structures to the landscape and the cosmos in incredibly sophisticated ways. Their cities weren't just collections of buildings, they were complex, functioning systems. And nowhere is this clearer than in their management of water. In cities like Tikal, built on porous limestone where surface water was rare, they engineered huge reservoir systems to capture and store rainwater. They paved large plazas with their durable plaster, sloping them just enough to channel the runoff into these man-made lakes, ensuring a year-round water supply for a large city. At Palenque, in the hills of Chiapas, Mexico, they had the opposite problem: too much water. They built elaborate underground aqueducts to channel streams directly underneath their plazas, basically creating new, stable land for construction. One of these aqueducts at Palenque holds an amazing secret. Researchers Kirk French and Christopher Duffy from Penn State discovered that one conduit, fed by a spring, runs down a steep drop. Critically, the Maya engineered the aqueduct to narrow dramatically at its exit. This constriction would have created serious water pressure. Duffy calculated it was enough to shoot a jet of water 20 feet into the air. This is the first known example of engineered water pressure in the New World, predating the Spanish by centuries. This command of the physical world was matched by their command of the heavens. Maya buildings were often precisely aligned with celestial events. The most famous example is the Temple of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza. Its 4 stairways each have 91 steps. And during the spring and fall equinoxes, the setting sun casts a series of shadows that form the illusion of a massive serpent slithering down the pyramid. This wasn't just art, it was a monumental clock, a calendar in stone that fused architecture, astronomy, and religion into one breathtaking statement. This fusion of science, art, and environment reveals a civilization far more advanced than the Stone Age label implies. Their ingenuity is a source of endless fascination. And if you find the engineering of the ancient world as captivating as we do, you know what to do. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more explorations into lost technologies and forgotten worlds. So, what is the great Mayan construction secret? It turns out it's not one thing, but everything. It's the seamless blend of masterful stonework and advanced organic chemistry. It's the brilliant management of water and the precise alignment with the cosmos. It's the ability to see the jungle not as an enemy, but as a laboratorious source of powerful ingredients for creating materials that could rival our own. While modern science has decoded the secret of their tree sap plaster and measured the pressure in their aqueducts, the greater mystery remains. How did they figure all of this out? How did a civilization accumulate and refine this incredible body of knowledge without our modern tools of analysis? A way of looking at the world that we, after centuries of assuming our own superiority, are only just beginning to truly appreciate. The ruins they left behind aren't just monuments to a lost civilization. They are a library of stone and plaster, filled with lessons that are still waiting to be read.